The woman who never loved him. By the time Adrian realized Diana had never loved him, she already controlled his finances, had her name connected to his apartment, and was quietly planning a future with another man. But the most painful part was not losing his money. It was discovering that every soft word, every late-night conversation, and every "I love you" had been carefully designed to make him trust her. Adrian Cole was the kind of man strangers admired from a distance. At 32, he had already built the life most people spend decades chasing. He owned a successful company. He drove expensive cars, and from the windows of his penthouse, the entire city seemed to exist beneath him. To the outside world, Adrian had won, but success can hide insecurity without healing it. Behind the tailored suits and confident meetings was a man who had always wondered whether anyone would choose him without knowing what he owned. Adrian was not naturally charming. He was quiet in crowded rooms. He often struggled to know what to say. And somewhere beneath everything he had built was a painful belief. Maybe without success, there was nothing about him worth loving. Then one evening, he met Diana. It happened at a private charity event in the city. The room was filled with powerful people pretending not to notice one another's wealth. Then Diana entered. She was elegant without appearing to try, confident without becoming loud, and beautiful in a way that made people turn their heads before they even understood why. But Diana did something unexpected. She ignored the most influential people in the room and walked directly toward Adrian. She did not ask about his company. She did not look at his watch. She did not appear impressed by the people surrounding him. She simply looked into his eyes and said, "You seem like the only person here who doesn't want to be seen." That sentence stayed with him because it felt less like an introduction and more like recognition. For the first time in years, Adrian felt that someone had noticed the person behind the success. And sometimes, the quickest way into a lonely heart is to make it feel understood. Over the next few weeks, Diana became part of every corner of Adrian's life. His mornings began with her messages. His nights ended with her voice. She remembered the smallest details: the coffee he ordered, the name of his childhood dog, the reason he hated his birthday, the dream he had once abandoned because his father said it was unrealistic. She listened with complete attention. She laughed at the right moments. And whenever Adrian revealed an insecurity, Diana made him feel safe for having one. Little by little, he lowered every wall he had spent years building. But Adrian did not know that while he was sharing himself, Diana was studying him. She noticed how deeply he feared rejection. She learned that silence made him anxious. She discovered that when she became distant, he immediately blamed himself. And once someone knows what you fear losing, they also know what they can use to control you. At first, the changes were too small to notice. Whenever Adrian surprised her with an expensive gift, Diana became warm and affectionate. Whenever he questioned her behavior, she became cold. She would stop answering, cancel plans, or tell him that his lack of trust was slowly destroying their relationship. Then, just as Adrian began to fear she might leave, she would return, sometimes with tears, sometimes with apologies, sometimes with promises about the future. And each return felt more powerful than the last. Adrian believed the emotional intensity meant their love was deep. But confusion can sometimes create an attachment that peace never could. When affection arrives unpredictably, You begin chasing the next moment of warmth. Not because the relationship makes you happy, but because you are desperate for the pain to stop. Adrian was no longer protecting the relationship. He was trying to earn back the version of Diana he had first met. There is a quiet psychological trap hidden inside this kind of connection. When someone gives affection and then suddenly removes it, the mind often begins working harder for their approval. You stop asking, "Is this relationship good for me?" and begin asking, "What can I do to make them love me again?" Diana understood this before Adrian did. Soon, she began talking about trust. She told him that real partners did not keep parts of their lives separate. She wanted them to build something together. First, she asked him to invest in a business idea. Adrian agreed. Then she suggested adding her name to one of his properties. He hesitated. Diana became quiet. She told him she felt embarrassed for believing they were building a future. Adrian apologized. A week later, the paperwork was signed. Then came access to his financial accounts. Diana explained that it would make their lives easier. Adrian agreed again. Every sacrifice felt like evidence of commitment. But love was not what Diana was measuring. She was measuring how much resistance remained, and every time Adrian surrendered another boundary, she learned that emotional pressure worked. Months passed. Several of Adrian's investments began failing. Money disappeared into projects that never seemed to progress. His closest friend, Marcus, confronted him. "You're not yourself anymore," he said. "You don't make decisions. You wait for her approval." Adrian became defensive. He told Marcus that he did not understand their relationship. He said loyalty meant supporting someone when others doubted them. But sometimes the people who love you will disturb your comfort because they can see the danger you are calling devotion. Adrian stopped speaking to Marcus. Diana praised him for finally protecting their relationship. That evening, Adrian felt proud. He believed he had chosen love. In reality, he had allowed Diana to remove the last person willing to challenge her. Then, one evening, Adrian returned home earlier than expected. The apartment was unusually quiet. He placed his keys on the table and heard Diana's voice coming from the bedroom. She was laughing softly. At first, Adrian assumed she was speaking to a friend. Then he heard a man's voice through the phone. Adrian stopped walking. Diana said, "I'll leave when the final transfer is complete." There was a pause. Then she laughed again. "There is nothing left for me here." For a few seconds, Adrian could not understand what he had heard. The mind sometimes refuses a truth that would destroy the story it has been protecting. He stood in the hallway, surrounded by objects that suddenly felt unfamiliar. The photographs, the gifts, the furniture they had selected together. Every promise seemed to change meaning at once. Adrian entered the room. Diana turned toward him. She did not look frightened. She did not cry. She did not even attempt to hide the phone. Adrian asked the question he already knew the answer to. "Did you ever love me?" Diana looked at him calmly. Then she said, "You believed what you needed to believe." Adrian felt something collapse inside him. She continued, "I never forced you to give me anything. You chose to." And in that moment, Adrian understood the cruelty of manipulation. The person who creates the wound will often blame you for bleeding. Diana left soon afterward, but she did not leave empty-handed. She took money, investments, legal control connected to the property, and most painfully, she took the future Adrian had been imagining every time she spoke about forever. Months later, someone sent Adrian a photograph of Diana standing beside another wealthy man. The expression on her face looked familiar. The same attentive eyes, the same gentle smile, the same illusion of complete understanding. Adrian stared at the photograph for a long time. He wondered how someone could imitate love so perfectly. But with time, he began asking a different question. Why had he needed to believe her so badly? That question changed everything. Adrian had spent years believing his appearance made him difficult to love. He believed success had finally made him worthy. So when Diana appeared to choose the man beneath the wealth, he never questioned why her affection always increased when he gave her something. He did not fall for Diana only because she was convincing. He fell because she confirmed the dream he was desperate to protect. This is sometimes called confirmation bias, but in simple human terms it means this. We often notice the evidence that supports what we hope is true and ignore the evidence that might wake us from it. Adrian did not ignore the warning signs because he was foolish. He ignored them because the truth threatened the one thing he wanted most: to believe that someone had finally chosen him. There is an old story about a beautiful house built beside the ocean. From the outside, the house appeared perfect. Its windows reflected the sunset. Its balconies overlooked the water, and every traveler who passed admired it. But beneath the house, the foundation was slowly being weakened by the sea. The owner saw small cracks forming along the walls, but he covered them with paintings. He replaced damaged furniture, and every time someone warned him about the foundation, he became angry. He had invested too much in the beauty of the house to admit it might not be safe. Then one night, a storm arrived. The house did not collapse because of the storm alone. It collapsed because the cracks had been ignored for years. Relationships are often the same. The final betrayal may feel sudden, but the collapse usually begins with small truths we keep decorating instead of facing. Adrian eventually rebuilt his business, but rebuilding his confidence took longer. He had to learn that boundaries are not evidence of distrust. They are how trust is allowed to grow without destroying the person who gives it. He learned to watch consistency instead of intensity. He learned that affection after conflict does not erase the pattern that caused it. And most importantly, he stopped confusing being desired with being valued. Because attention can be performed, words can be rehearsed, even affection can be used strategically. But character reveals itself slowly. It appears in the way someone treats your boundaries, the way they respond when you say no, the way they behave when there is nothing left to gain. Real love does not require you to become smaller so someone else can feel powerful. It does not isolate you from the people who care about you. And it does not ask you to surrender your judgment as proof of commitment. Adrian's greatest loss was not the apartment. It was not the money. It was the moment he realized he had betrayed his own instincts to protect someone else's promises. But that realization also became the beginning of his freedom. Because sometimes the truth does not arrive to destroy your life. Sometimes it arrives to return it to you. So before you trust someone with your future, watch how they treat the word no. Watch how they react when you disagree. Watch whether their affection remains when you have nothing useful to offer. Beauty may attract your attention. Chemistry may create excitement. But character determines whether your peace will survive. The wrong person will not always enter your life looking dangerous. Sometimes they will enter looking like everything you ever asked for. And sometimes The most expensive mistake a person makes is falling in love with someone who was only in love with what they could take. What warning did your heart once give you that you chose to ignore because you wanted the relationship to be real? If this story helped you understand someone, or perhaps understand yourself, then your journey may have already begun. Welcome to VeraMind, truth behind every story.